Welcome back to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy, and this is going to be about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. But first, I've got a few messages on notes and some other WWE news. Last week, it was reported that CM Punk's WWE contract was actually already expired, and that he has signed a 1-week extension through the pay-per-view in order to work the main event for tonight's pay-per-view in Chicago against John Cena. In an update to that story, Punk has been making the media rounds this week, hyping tonight's show, and has been very candid about his experience with WWE and his current status with the company. In an interview conducted for the Abe Kanan Sirius XM radio show, Punk noted that he has not re-signed with WWE at this point, and that the extent of his renegotiation with the company is roughly as follows. WWE wants Punk to resign for 5 years, to which Punk said no. Up until a few years ago, Punk did not get along with Randy Orton to the point where it almost became physical between the two. Also, Punk feels that The Rock does not deserve the main event next year's WrestleMania. WWE offered Punk a role in a non-WWE produced horror film, and Punk turned it down. Although WWE has billed Money in the Bank as CM Punk's final appearance for the organization, he is among those advertised for tomorrow night's Monday Night Raw in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Chicago Tribune has posted an article regarding WWE star sightings this weekend in Chicago, Illinois. The article features a photo of John Cena posing for a photo with fans at Chicago O'Hare International Airport, and notes that his Money in the Bank opponent, CM Punk, threw out the ceremonial first pitch prior to Friday's Chicago Cubs game at Wrigley Field. The story also notes that Mark Henry, Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, and Eden Styles, I'm not familiar with Eden Styles myself, were seen dining at the 50-50 on Saturday. Maurice was on hand for tonight's Money in the Bank live chat on WWE.com. It was at 8 o'clock. I doubt it, since the pay-per-view's over. Prior to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, there was a dark match. Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov beat WWE Tag Team Champions David Otunga and Michael McGillicuddy in a non-title match. Santino pinned Otunga in the dark match prior to tonight's Money in the Bank pay-per-view from the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois. And what you've all been waiting for is your Money in the Bank pay-per-view live from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. As the pyro went off, ladders were set up all around the ring as Michael Cole welcomes us to the second ever Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Cole is joined by Booker T and Jerry Lawler. SmackDown Money in the Bank ladder match is up first. Sin Cara, Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, Sheamus, Cody Rhodes, Heath Slater versus Daniel Bryan and versus Kane. And we go right to the ring for tonight's opener. Out first comes Sin Cara, followed by Wade Barrett. Ladders and armored trucks are set up on the entranceway. Out next comes Justin Gabriel with his new theme music. Sheamus is out next, followed by Cody Rhodes. Heath Slater is out next with his new theme music. Daniel Bryan is out next, and finally Kane makes his way out. And they are all, the bell rings and everyone goes at it. Barrett and Cody, Kane and Gabriel, Sheamus and Sin Cara. Sheamus throws Cara out and stomps on Bryan until he goes to the floor. It comes down to Sheamus, Barrett, and Kane in the ring. They both attack Kane, but the double clotheslines them twice. The second sending them out to the floor. Kane lays the ring and brings a ladder in. Daniel Bryan drop kicks the ladder into Kane, sending him back to the fan barrier. Bryan picks up the ladder, but Slater and Gabriel kick it into him. Sin Cara comes over, but they knock him down to the floor with the ladder. Slater pulls Gabriel to the floor and brings a ladder in himself. Gabriel stops Slater from climbing, but Bryan stops him as well. Cody comes over and goes to climb the ladder, but Sheamus stops him. Sheamus goes for his finisher, but Cody slides out. Cody drops Slater, but Sheamus takes out Cody and Bryan with clotheslines. Kara and Gabriel go at it in the ring now. Kara takes out Slater, but drops Gabriel with a springboard back elbow. Kara takes Gabriel out of the ring with the scissors and then kicks Bryan while he's on the top. Kara climbs up to the top rope and Bryan hits his big finisher. Kara goes outside and brings a ladder into the ring, but Barrett stops him with a big boot. Barrett sets up a ladder in as a bridge between the ring and the Spanish announcer's table. Barrett scoops up Kara, but he slides out. Barrett charges, but Kara moves and he hits the ring post. Kara goes in the ring, but Sheamus lays him out with a bro kick. Sheamus picks up Kara on the apron and powerbombs him through the ladder, and he's out of the match completely. The ladder that was bridged between the ring and the announcer's table broke. Yes, this was an aluminum ladder, and it broke when he went through it. Kara crashed through the ladder, breaking it in half. Kara starts shaking on the floor as officials check on him and remove him from the arena. So there's your first injury of the evening. Trainers and more referees come out to check on Kara. They load him up on the stretcher as Kane and Sheamus go at it in the ring. Kane kicks Sheamus to the floor and slams the ladder on top of him. Kane brings it back in the ring where Cody and Kane laid Cody and Bryan out again. Kane sets up the ladder and climbs up for the briefcase. Slater, Barrett, and Gabriel work together to pull him off and beat him down. Cody starts climbing, but they pull him off also and beat him down. Bryan also beat down the former Nexus and core teammates. Barrett wants them all to let him climb for the briefcase, only momentarily, as they discuss it. Barrett starts climbing, but Gabriel and Slater pull him off and beat him down. And then they throw him out of the ring. Slater and Gabriel both climb for the briefcase, but Cody comes in and interrupts. They fight him off, but he comes back in and tips the ladder over. Cody kicks a Slater and hits Crossroads. Cody then starts climbing up for the briefcase now. Barrett comes in. He stops the momentum and goes for ladder, but gets hit with a Crossroads also. Cody climbs again, but Sheamus pulls him down. Sheamus hits the big backbreaker on Cody and starts climbing for the briefcase himself. Daniel Bryan grabs his leg and climbs on the ladder with him. Bryan stuns Sheamus, but Sheamus puts Bryan on his shoulders and turns around to Kane, hitting a big clothesline from the top. Bryan falls hard from Sheamus' shoulders, and everyone goes down. Sheamus bridges a ladder from the turnbuckles to another ladder inside the ring that's set up in the center of the ring. Kane drops him with a big boot. Kane then chokeslams Cody. Gabriel leaps in, but Kane chokeslams him also. Kane goes to climb the ladder, but Bryan stops him. Kane grabs Bryan for a chokeslam, but Bryan fights him off. Bryan leaps off the ladder, but Kane grabs him in midair and goes to slam him. Bryan counters and sends Kane outside to the ring. Slater comes in to climb the ladder, but Bryan tries to stop him. They go at it on the ladder. Until Slater drops him hard on the mat, Slater climbs back for the briefcase as the crowd boos. Barrett pulls Slater off and beats him down in the corner. Slater goes up to the top rope, but Barrett knocks him off. Sheamus comes in the ring, but Barrett beats him down also. Barrett brings another ladder in the ring. He and Sheamus use it to pick up Slater from the top and launch him to the floor, on to Kane. Sheamus bro kicks the ladder into Barrett and drops Cody with a kick. Sheamus drops Gabriel with a clothesline and sets up another ladder up in the corner. Sheamus slams Gabriel into the earlier ladder bridge he set up in the corner. Sheamus then drops Gabriel face over the ladder that's in the corner and bro kicks him down. Crowd cheers as Sheamus looks up to the briefcase and starts climbing. Kane meets him at the top and hits him with the right hands. Sheamus knocks Kane off the ladder, but comes comes around and he grabs his leg. Kane continues to hold Sheamus back and grabs him for a choke slam. Kane choke slams Sheamus from up high onto the ladder, the one that was bridged, set up in the corner. Kane climbs the ladder now, but Bryan, Barrett, and Cody stop him. Cody leaps off the ladder and kicks Kane in the face. Barrett hits Kane with wasteland. Gabriel goes to the top and hits a crazy 450 on Kane off the ladder that was split between the ring like RVD does with his leg split. There's a leg split splash. Barrett with a wasteland over the top rope on Gabriel onto Slater on the floor. Bryan gets laid out temporarily. Barrett drops Cody with a power slam, pump handle slam. Barrett climbs for the briefcase now, but Cody stops him and pulls him down. Cody clotheslines Barrett to the floor. Bryan climbs and grabs the briefcase. While Bryan has a submission on Cody, Bryan knocks Cody to the mat. Bryan ends up on Barrett's shoulders. Barrett goes for a wasteland from up high on the ladder, but Bryan fights out with elbows. Bryan kicks Barrett in the head, sending him to the mat. Bryan grabs the briefcase and wins the Money in the Bank ladder match and earning a future world heavyweight title shot. The crowd pops big for Bryan as he celebrates with the briefcase up high for several minutes on the ladder. Then they cut to footage from earlier of Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and a WWE lawyer arriving to the arena for last-minute dealings with CM Punk. And next up, your second match, Divas title match, Brie Bella versus Kelly Kelly. Well, Brie had her sister with her, and Kelly brought out Eve. And they go to the ring. Out comes first Brie Bella with her sister, Nikki, for tonight's Divas match. Out comes next Divas champion Kelly Kelly, and she brought Eve Torres with her. Bell rings, and they talk smack. Kelly smacks Brie straight in the face and leads on to her. Kelly with more offense that sends Brie out to the floor. Brie talks with Nikki until Kelly leaps from the apron and takes both Bellas out. They come back in the ring, and Kelly ties Brie up on the ropes. Brie breaks free and knocks Kelly to the floor face first. Okay. Brie brings it back into the ring for a 2 count. Brie applies a submission, but Kelly fights out. More offense from Brie and another 2 count, another pin attempt, and a chin lock by Brie. Kelly drops Brie on her jaw and starts slamming her face into the mat several times. Kelly tosses Brie by her hair and clotheslines her. Kelly with a neck breaker for a 2. More back and forth action. Kelly with another 2 count. Brie turns it around and gets a close pin attempt of her own. Kelly hits her leg drop finisher on Brie for the win out of nowhere. Then they go to SummerSlam promo. They get a promo for Big Show and Mark Henry as that match is up next. Mark Henry is out first for the next match, then Big Show, and they go at it. As soon as the bell hits, Show fights Henry off with huge chops. Henry whips him into the ropes. Show comes back and takes Henry down with a big shoulder tackle. Henry rolls to the floor to regroup. Show follows him and drops him with a big clothesline. They go at it on the floor now. Show throws Henry into the steel steps after clotheslining him on the floor. They brought it back to the ring, and Henry took out Show's injured knee. Henry kicked Show in the head 3 times, keeping him on the mat. 2 count for Henry. Henry continues to attack Show's leg. Henry applies a half Boston Crab now. Show finally makes it to the ropes and breaks the hold. Show kicks Henry off, but gets up limping. Henry hits a big clothesline into the corner. He goes for another, but Show puts up a big boot. Show goes to the second rope and comes down with a big shoulder block, taking Henry down. Show landed bad on his knee, but gets up and called for the choke slam. Henry blocked the choke slam and hit a World's Strongest Slam. Got a 2 count. Henry yells and grabs the Show, hitting another World's Strongest Slam. Henry then gets 2 big splashes on Show on both sides of his body. One with a kind of like a springboard splash, because he bounced off the ropes to get that splash on. Covered him for the win. After the match, Mark Henry went to ringside and brought a steel chair in the ring. Henry wrapped Joe's leg up with the chair and climbed to the second rope. Henry bounced and hit a big splash, coming down hard on Joe's leg and the chair. Joe sits up and starts yelling in pain. A trainer checks on Joe, and as Henry walks off, they bring a stretcher in, and they immediately take Joe and put him on the cart. It was big enough for Joe to ride on the back. If you've watched professional football, same type of mini truck. We get CM Punk chants from the crowd as they load Joe up on the cart and drive him backstage. And in the background, you hear a lot of CM Punk chants start right at that moment. Then they they show footage of Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis backstage talking. Josh Baxter comes in and asks Vince if he re-signs CM Punk. Vince said no. Vince says Punk is the biggest ingrate he's ever dealt with in his life. Vince says he's offered Punk the most lucrative contract ever, and Punk turned him down. Vince says that the Punk fans shouldn't blame him. He did what he could to keep Punk on the roster. Matthews asked Vince, what did Punk actually say? Vince says Punk pointed at the door and told Vince to simply get out. Matthews brings up Cena and then pisses Vince off a bit. Vince says this is all on Cena, and if some way Punk leaves with the WWE title, may God have mercy on Cena's soul. Okay. Raw Money in the Bank ladder match. I'm going to give some brief, quick results right here. You have two new champions tonight, being CM Punk and Christian wins by DQ. Orton kicked him in the nuts. Okay, now we have Alberto Del Rio versus Kofi Kingston versus Swagger versus Bourne versus Truth versus Alex Riley, who I thought should have won this match, and it was my favorite match to win. The Miz, who was apparently injured during the match, and Rey Mysterio. So this will make your third injury. So Big Show was the second one. Well, Miz came back in the match at the end, almost got the win, but he didn't win. They go to the ring out versus Alberto Del Rio to kick off the match. As ladders are set up everywhere, Kofi Kingston is out, next followed by Jack Swagger and Evan Bourne. Bourne grabs a ladder and brings it into the ring with him. Truth is also out next, still with no music. Actually, all of the superstars in the ring have all grabbed ladders before the match starts. Well, Evan Bourne grabbed a 4-foot ladder, and R-Truth grabbed a 4-foot ladder. Obviously, these two ladders are not going to be tall enough for anybody to reach the belt hanging from the ceiling. Okay, Alex Riley is out next and also grabs a ladder. Out next is The Miz, followed by Rey Mysterio for his first ever Money in the Bank match. Bell rings and everyone unloads on Del Rio with their ladders, sending him to the floor. Everyone dumps their ladders onto Del Rio now. Mysterio gets tossed out onto the pile of ladders. Riley does Swagger to the floor and knocks him back down with a ladder. Truth and Miz are the ones left in the ring. They clash with ladders until Swagger comes in and runs them down with a bigger ladder. Swagger, Kofi, and Bourne go at it now. Truth comes in but gets taken out. Ray leaps off a ladder and takes Swagger to the floor with the head scissors. Kofi sends Bourne to the floor, but Truth takes him out. Riley comes in and drops Truth over the ladder between his legs. Lots of more back and forth action. Truth runs, leaps over the ropes, lands on all the bodies on the floor. Ray and Kofi both go to the top, but leap down onto the group on the floor at the same time. Bourne climbs a ladder that's set up on the floor, hits Airborne on the top of the ladder that's outside on the rampway. Onto everybody. He does his Airborne, which is the backward, y'all know what it is. Described. Shooting star press. How's that? Bourne climbs for the briefcase, but Miz stops him. since he's returned. Well, actually, he's not injured at this point. Del Rio pushes over the ladder and Miz lands bad on his knee. This is where he's injured. Miz starts screaming in pain. He rolls to the floor and trainers check on him. They immediately take him to the back. You can see that Miz's knee is injured. Del Rio and Rey Mysterio go at it now. Del Rio climbs the ladder, but Truth stops him. Well, some referees are escorting the Miz to the back, not on the truck like they did Big Show. Then you see officials helping Miz off to the back. Lots more action on the ladders, but Swagger is left standing. Kofi leaps over Swagger and lands on the ladder. Kofi goes for the briefcase. Swagger applies an ankle lock while he's still on the ladder. Wiley climbs and goes at it with Swagger. Truth pushes the ladder over, and both men go down. Truth sets the ladder up in the corner, but Rey attacks. Rey gets wedged between the ladder and the turnbuckles. Truth drop kicks the ladder onto his ribs. Truth gets dropped on the ladder face first. Kofi stops Rey and climbs up top. Kofi leaps from the top rope to the ladder. And then on to Truth with a boom drop. Kofi fights Riley off and goes for the ladder, but get kicked to the mat by Rey. Swagger rams Rey with a ladder. Truth comes back in to play kick the ladder game into Swagger's face. Truth is leaning over, allowing Rey to hit him with a 619. Riley and Rey fight up high on the ladder. Bourne and Swagger bring ladders in. Del Rio allowing Rey to Del Rio drop kick Swagger back to the floor. Bourne and Del Rio climb up on the ladders with Rey and Riley. Swagger comes back in and pulls off Del Rio. Now all 8 superstars are up high on the top of the ladders going at it, which actually should be 7. Briefcase just sways back and forth between hands. Del Rio gets knocked off into a ladder face first. Swagger then gets knocked off. Riley pushes Bourne's ladder down and he lands outside the ring onto the floor. Riley gets knocked off next. Truth goes next and then Rey. Kofi is left up top with a briefcase. Swagger runs up another ladder and stops him. Ladder tumbles and both go down. Miz comes limping back from the back to the ring and hobbles up a ladder. Rey pulls him by his injured leg and slams him into a ladder. Rey powerbombs Miz from the ladder to the mat. Del Rio tries to stop Rey by climbing, but gets knocked to the mat as the fans boo. Del Rio runs up the ladder again and goes at it with Rey. Del Rio pushes Rey off the ladder, but he lands on another ladder. All of the ladders tumble after Del Rio takes off Rey's mask. As Rey went down, Del Rio stands up on the ladder, climbs for the briefcase, winning the match. Grabs the briefcase, winning his WWE title shot. And then they go for the promo for the world title. Backstage, Matthews and Alberto Del Rio. He says this briefcase isn't a part of his destiny. It's a formality. Del Rio says his destiny is to become the next WWE champion and walks away. And your World Heavyweight title match, Christian versus Randy Orton. Stipulation is if Christian is a victim of bad officiating, if Randy Orton is DQ tonight, Christian will automatically win the World Championship. Out first is Christian, then Randy Orton. Bell rings and they square up. Christian goes to the floor and brings in a steel chair. Brings a steel chair back into the ring. Christian slides it to Orton, hoping he will get DQ'd. Orton picks the chair up but throws it out of the ring. Orton drops Christian with the right hand and takes him to the corner for more. Orton with a big backdrop out of the corner. Orton starts stomping on Christian. Christian turns it around with a cheap shot and right hands in the corner. Christian leaps over the ropes but lands hard on the floor as Orton moved. Orton runs Christian into the steel steps. Orton goes to bring Christian in with a second rope DDT, but it's blocked. Christian with an elbow from the second rope for a 2 count. Christian keeps it in control and drops Orton with another elbow for a 2 count. Christian chokes Orton on the ropes and connects with a big right hand. Christian another 2 count. Orton comes back with a roll up out of nowhere, but Christian then spinebusters him for a 2 count. Christian goes for a kill switch. Missed somewhere. Okay, Christian goes for a kill switch, but Orton blocked it. Christian countered, but Orton clotheslined them both out to the floor. They come back in, and RKO is blocked. Orton runs into a big boot. Christian is caught off the second rope. Orton pins him with jackknife style for a 2 count. Orton with a Thesz press and several right hands. Orton goes for the DDT again, but Christian counters. Christian comes off the second rope, but Orton drop kicks him in midair. 2 count for Orton. Christian comes back and goes up top, but Orton stops him. They duke it out. Orton connects with several right hands in a row. Christian shoves Orton to the mat and hits a big diving headbutt for a 2 count. Christian counters another RKO. Orton connects with 2 clotheslines. Christian kicks him. Orton fights back with uppercuts and goes for another RKO, but it's blocked. Christian hits kill switch, but only gets 2 count. Christian readies for a spear, but Orton dodges it. Orton with a gut wrench into a neck breaker for 2. Orton prepares for a punt kick, but doesn't. Orton with a scoop slam. Orton finally hits the second rope DDT. Orton goes for RKO again, but Christian drops to the mat and backs into the corner. Christian spits in Orton's face, and this enrages him. Orton mounts Christian with right hands as the ref tells him to get off. Orton kicks Christian below the belt and is disqualified. Winner and new champion Christian. After the match, Orton goes nuts and attacks Christian out at ringside and tears up the announcer's table. Orton nails Christian with a monitor and lays him over the table. Teddy Long comes out, and the official tries to talk Orton down. Orton RKO's Christian on top of a Spanish announcer's table that doesn't break. Orton walks away, but he gets riled up again by the fans and runs back over to Christian. Orton RKO's Christian again on top of the table. It just still doesn't break. Orton yells at Christian before walking off again. The crowd is going nuts as Orton stomps and turns around again, and he looks to return to Christian, but instead heads to the back. We'll see officials helping New World Heavyweight Champion Christian at ringside as we go to commercial, and I might have to take an emergency break off the recording, and I will be back shortly. Alright, back from my little emergency I had. I was getting bitten by ants on my foot. I got to take care of that. Alright, back to the pay-per-view. Okay. We'll go back. Okay, we got another SummerSlam promo. They cut back to the announcers. The fans were chanting for CM Punk. Go to a promo video for tonight's main event, and it's up next. WWE title match, CM Punk versus John Cena. CM Punk walks away with the championship. John Cena is fired. We go to the arena after the promo video, and the crowd is going nuts, chanting CM Punk's name. Punk's music, and out he comes to a massive reaction. Punk takes a seat in the ring as the crowd chants his name. A few minutes goes by as Punk soaks it all in and up. Punk goes to ringside and greets someone in the first row, probably his mother. It wasn't no Colt Cabana. Had to be his mom. Woman. Okay, John Cena's music finally hits and the crowd erupts and boos. And boos the hell out of Cena out of the arena. Punk claps from ringside. Same place where he was hugging and kissing his mother or whoever it was. Cena enters the ring to the boos. We formally get the ring introductions and the bell. Punk throws a kick at Cena to get things going. They finally lock up and Punk applies a headlock. Punk goes behind and wraps up Cena's arm. You can't wrestle chants from the crowd. Punk goes for the Anaconda Vice early, but it was not. It was a miss. Cena escaped. Cena takes Punk to the mat. Now by his arm drag takedown. armbar, kind of like submission takedown. Cena drops Punk with a shoulder to boos from the crowd. Punk applauds Cena. Cena with a headlock and another takedown to the mat. Cena with a shoulder block. Punk leapfrogs and takes Cena down twice to pops from the crowd. Punk with a headlock on the mat now. They go up and Punk drops Cena with a shoulder now. Punk mocks Cena with the right hand to lock up again, and Punk kicks Cena several times to the mat. Punk stops on Cena in the corner now. Cena comes back, and Cena runs over Punk with a clothesline for a 2 count. Punk turns it around and backdrops Cena for a 2 count. They actually get dueling chants for Cena and Punk from the crowd, and actually a Cena sucks. The Cena sucks chants from the crowd. Punk whips Cena hard into the corner and covers him for a 2 count. Cena with right hands and a fisherman suplex for a 2 count of his own. Cena for a double A again. But Punk counters and DDTs him for a 2 count. Punk applies head scissors. Cena stands up with Punk on his shoulders. Punk fights out of it and tosses Cena out of the ring. Punk puts Cena on the apron and drops a big knee to the neck from the top rope. Because everybody you thought was going to be a leg drop off the top. Well, it was a knee instead. Right in front of Colt. His head right in front of Colt Cabana. I didn't see him at ringside. Punk brings back into the ring for a 2 count. Punk backs Cena into the corner with knees to the head. Punk charges in the corner, but Cena moves and he hits the ring post. Cena pulls Punk back, but Punk clotheslines him for another 2 count. Punk takes Cena back to the mat with another headlock. More dueling chants from the crowd as Cena fights out of the hold. Cena with a right hand now. Cena runs into a big boot in the corner. Punk with a crossbody from the top. That barely connected and got a 2 count. Cena looked like he may have been legitimately hurt on his knee at this point. Punk goes to suplex Cena in from the apron, but Cena suplexes him back onto the floor. Cena brings him back in the ring for a 2 count. Cena hits a suplex and runs the ropes. Fine. Dropping an elbow for another pin. Cena scoops Punk, but Punk slides out. Cena goes for the attitude adjustment. Hits a variation for a 2 count. Cena with rights and lefts now. Punk comes back and they trade punches and kicks. The crowd pops as Punk swings away. Cena counters and applies an abdominal stretch, which was normally a point where he does his shoulder blocks. They break the hold, but both go down at the same time. Cena comes back with shoulder blocks and the backdrop, but Punk falls behind Cena. Punk rolls Cena up for a 2 count. Punk misses a high knee into the corner, and Cena backdrops him. The crowd boos as Cena calls for the 5-knuckle shuffle. Punk kicks Cena in the head as he does the hand gesture. Punk sends Cena to the floor and dives through the ropes. Taking Cena out, Cena is back in the ring. Punk springboards into the ring, but Cena moves and Punk goes down. Cena calls for the 5-knuckle shuffle this time, connecting and goes for the attitude adjustment, but Punk lands on his feet, almost. Even the announcers boxed that. Punk landed on his butt, but Punk got quickly back up and got a leg sweep for a 2 count. Punk then scoots Cena for the GTS, but he countered. Cena with a gut wrench for a 2 count. Cena goes for the attitude adjustment again, but Punk countered. Punk hits 2 big knees to the jaw and a bulldog on Cena, laying him out face down. Punk springboards into the ring and takes Cena down for a 2 count. Punk hits Cena with several kicks to the chest now. Cena ducks one and locks the STF on Punk. Punk finally makes it to the ropes after about a minute and a half and breaks the hold. Punk drops Cena with a kick to the head out of nowhere for a close 2 count. Punk climbed to the top and hits a crossbody, but Cena rolled through. Picked up Punk, puts him on his shoulders, but Punk counters the AA Punk goes for the GTS, but Cena counters and locks him in the STF on again. Cena pulls Punk back to the center of the ring and reapplies the hold. Punk turns the hold around and locks his submission in as the crowd goes nuts. Skeeter scoops Punk up and hits AA, but only gets a 2 count. Cena went back up, went to the top for a leg drop, but Punk counted for a 2 count. Punk went for the GTS, but Cena used the ropes to escape and dropped Punk on himself. Cena hits a leg drop from up top, but Punk still kicks out at 2. Cena goes for the attitude adjustment again and nails it. Cena covers Punk, but still manages to kick out right before the 3 count. Cena argues with the referee at this point. Cena takes Punk to the corner, puts him up top. Cena goes for attitude adjustment for the top rope, but Punk fights him off with several elbows to the head. Punk turns it around and hits the top rope Hurricane Rana. Punk hits a high knee in the corner and goes for the GTS. Punk doesn't connect all the way, and Cena falls out of the ring. Punk goes to the floor and brings Cena back in the ring. Vince McMahon at this point comes in. And him and John Laurinaitis are walking side by side. Vince and his power walk make their way to the ring, down to the ring as he's staring down Punk. Punk gets into the ring. Cena trips him. Applying the STF, Vince starts calling for the bell. Laurinaitis runs over to have the bell rang, but Cena immediately stopped the submission hold and ran and kicked punched Johnny Laurinaitis with his right hand punch. Then Cena walks over and stares at Vince, shaking his head. Cena runs back in the ring, but Punk connects with a GTS for the pin and the win via distraction from Vince McMahon. To me, that was a Montreal screw job. Well, Vince played it off, and you got a new winner in WWE Champion CM Punk as he leaves WWE supposedly. Punk celebrated in the ring with the WWE title as Vince rolled his eyes at ringside, looking sick. The Chicago crowd goes nuts as Punk holds the WWE title high. Vince rips the headset off of Jerry Lawler and orders Punk's music to be cut. Vince tells him to send Alberto Del Rio out to cash in immediately with his briefcase. Crowd chants for Punk as Vince is furious at ringside. Del Rio runs out with his briefcase. There's no bell to start the match. Punk drops him with a right hand and drops to his knees. Punk stares at Vince and smiles. Punk escapes the ring and runs into the crowd with the WWE title in hand. Referee never rang the bell, so Del Rio never cashed in. Punk runs through the crowd as Vince looked on, and the crowd goes crazy. Punk poses with the fans and the WWE title as Vince looks on from the ring. Punk is shown running through the concession area while Vince is still looking on from the ringside as the pay-per-view goes off the air. But Vince was not just saying Del Rio. He said, well, Del Rio or anybody come out, which could have been Daniel Bryan, because it can be used on any championship match. Well, after the pay-per-view went off the air, Vince McMahon stood there, shocked, before finally walking off. He stopped to wait on John Laurinaitis. Well, guess what? Officials were helping Laurinaitis to the back, but Vince laid him out with the right hand and then walked off. So the officials were taking Laurinaitis to the back as well. And that was your pay-per-view ending right there. Sorry about the last match interruption, but when you get about 100 ants on you, biting out of nowhere, you don't know, it's time to stop and move. Almost like a fire. Stop, drop, and roll. Well, I stopped the taping, and I was running to get my injury clean and what have you. So, until Raw tomorrow night, peace out, folks. Have a nice weekend. What's left of it.